I'm not going to say it, but we probably have a good, between the two of us, 7 to 8 hours of working already today.
Let's
because
go.
the SodaCon's coming up, but we got to talk about the news first.
The people really
we got to bounce first.
We got to talk about the news because that's what's today. You know, hey, hands in the dirt, eyes on the clouds.
Head in the clouds sometimes. Sometimes it's head in the clouds.
Sometimes that's what I feel like right now.
Lately I've been wondering what my brain is up to at certain times in the day. Like, have you ever been just so deluged with information that you're like, I don't know. Do you watch Stranger Things?
No, I can't do that show.
Yeah, well, I've watched Stranger Things, and there's a scene where all these like little vampire bat things are like swarming around this one guy, and they're just attacking him from every angle. And he's got like this trash can lid with nails in it and like some homemade spear. And that's kind of how I feel like with details around the metal, the 1990s Metallica's playing. Right. So we are coming in. Let me just tell you, I saw a call sheet yesterday. And if you don't know what a call sheet is, so a call sheet is like where every detail, nuance, piece of information, time organized, phone numbers, dates, names, session names, things you need to remember, links are all on one sheet. And ours is like 6 pages long. And I was like, dang, we got some details together. I wish we had a screenshot to show you. It's got some confidential information, so we probably couldn't anyway. But let me just say, we are ready. We are ready for you at ASOTUCon. If you have not gotten your tickets, ASOTUCon.com. We still have tickets available. We're probably going to leave. Can you get them at the event? Did we figure that out yet?
That's a great question.
I don't know. Maybe. But if you're a dealer and you happen to drag yourself in there, we'll figure it out. Let me just say that.
The bat flying at the thing is what that one is.
The bat, right? That's but all I can say is we have like 1,700 people registered for the Monday night party.
Yeah, that's gonna be legit. That's gonna be a ton of
fun. Also, we're sharing Auto Collabs episode. Streaming them today is Anthony Gingoli. Actually, this is a super fresh one. We just had the interview and the conversation yesterday, so super fresh. Anthony is one of those guys that just gets it done. He's from Philly, close to my heart. Knows how to just stay consistent over time and just lean in and deal with the change, man. Just deal with the change.
Exactly. Hey, if you're wondering what to do in Philly, listen to the episode because
great suggestion.
Comes with a little right hook when you expect the jab. So
that's true. Being from Philly, I was even like, that is where I would spend if I had an hour, because that was the question, right? If you had an hour to do something in Philly during ASOTUCon, what would you do? And he answered that question brilliantly. I mean, just brilliantly. So brilliantly.
Like a native, like a local, I
was kind of embarrassed that wasn't my first
It's like if you were in Nashville and someone was like, where should you go? Everyone's like, Broadway. And then the Nashville people are like, nah.
They're like, keep going to Broadway, please. Right. Don't mess our local spot up. Yeah, Broadway. Right, exactly. Go to Broadway. All right, let's talk about some news today. We got a couple things going on. So let's talk about. We felt like we needed to give you an overview. This is a first ever in the show. We're going to give you an overview of several news stories. We do this a lot in our daily email. If you don't get it, you should get it. ASOTU.com. Sign up for the daily email. And a lot of times we'll pick a topic and then we'll give like 3 hits on it, right? 3 different stories that are all kind of related. So just like within 60 to 120 seconds, you can be like, okay, I'm kind of caught up on that topic. So we're going to do that in the show this morning. So today is all about the power. We're going to give you 4 quick shots about electricity. It's the hot topic. So we're going to start high level. So California yesterday experienced several temporary power outages. Despite Gavin Newsom telling residents there were no outages, apparently, according to Newsweek and the people without power, there were power outages. Operator,
no power over here, everybody.
No, we're good. We're good. It's power's on. You just don't see it. So operators, the regulatory operators, they ordered a stage 3 alert, which is the highest level before they start rolling blackout. So everyone gets a text message on their phone being like, yo, shut your stuff off right now. And so residents actually reacted really quickly and they were able to avoid the major repercussion of rolling blackouts. And I can't remember what the data was, but I mean, like that message went out and everyone's like, shut it down. Right. So the toasters went off, air conditioners went up to 78, Teslas got unplugged. It was the whole thing. And so they were able to avoid that. So there you go. That is the first little piece of our electricity coverage this morning. Kyle, you get number 2.
I got number 2. Tesla is in development of a dry coating technique for battery cells,
It's the dye.
which what that means is it could reduce the overall cost of the Model Y, which cost is a big prohibitor to EV transition of their main battery pack by $5,500 on the cost of that. That's a wild cost change.
That's half.
So
That's the battery cost half as much now.
that reduces the cost of the vehicle by 8%. Think about that. Think about the number of people that could be that could access this. It's an important step to reach their production goals, they said, of producing, as Elon tweeted just a couple weeks ago, 30 million Teslas by 2030. For now, production is not at the point where they have scale, and so they are thinking, hey, bring down the overall cost, and boom, we get off to the races. Really cool technique. You can link it in the show notes. Won't explain it right now because we got a next one to roll. Paul, you got this.
Going from Tesla to Toyota just after a year after announcing their full lineup of BEVs by 2025. Toyota's finalized plans to create its own battery. In a press conference, they said, through this integrated development of vehicles and batteries, we aim to reduce the battery cost per vehicle by 50% compared to the Toyota BZ4X in the second half of the 2020s. That was Toyota's Chief Technology Officer, Masahiko Maeda. That's what the journalist at the press conference. Got it. So 50%. Tesla's like 50%. Toyota's like, oh, yeah, we'll take that 50%. It volleyed it right back. And last but not least, Kyle, this is our fourth story, and it was covered in the email today, but
here we go. So crabs and lobsters have the capacity to potentially help us power batteries. It has been found that a material in their exoskeletons called chitin, which can also be found in a few other places like jellyfish, and I believe
the word chitin.
Like,
is that how you say like chicken somewhere down south? Yo, y'all got that chitin?
You got that chitin? So this is crazy. So what happens is, unlike traditional battery electrolytes, the crab goo, they're calling it, will break down in soil in about 5 months, leaving zinc that can be recycled behind. The director of the University of Maryland Center for Materials and Innovation, Lingbing Hu, said in the future he hopes all components in batteries will be biodegradable, not only the material itself, but also the fabrication process of biomaterials. And this is one step to get there. So for all you crab and lobster fans, save those crab and lobster shells. They may be valuable in the near future.
And just to think how many dumpsters in Louisiana are full of those things.
Just people just going to be pulling them out. It's like
when you're reading that, all I can think of, since I have kids, so I've seen every Pixar movie several million times, is that scene from Moana where they had that big crab with the bioluminescent algae. That's all I can think of. The bioluminescent algae crab. All right. Speaking of people being crabby.
Stop.
Segue.
Time.
Are CSI scores in service actually hurting the overall customer experience? Well, new research shows that turnover, high stress, and customers who leverage a CSI, as in like they come in and be like, yo, I got a survey right here. What are you going to do for me? Right? Customers leveraging it like that might be indicating that it's time for an overhaul. In an annual survey conducted by consulting group Ducker Carlisle of service advisors, managers, and technicians on behalf of auto manufacturers, CSIs, and the trouble that they cause actually came up thousands of times, sometimes solicited, but sometimes completely unsolicited. Like questions like, hey, what do you see as the biggest hindrance to your job performance or overall mentality or attitude? So some examples of what could be doing this are employees getting notifications that you just got a bad CSI, right? This is even during the workday, right? You're trying to serve a customer and notification comes up that somebody just trashed you on a survey, or you're at home trying to relax a little bit, get a notification, someone just trashed you on a survey. That really does demotivate you to do the job. So also some of the things that were talked about were close ties to pay plans, often for things that are outside the service advisor's control. And we'll talk about a suggestion to help fix that in a minute. But Kyle, I both very familiar with the CSI world.
Look,
I was a service writer.
I don't care whether it's service or sales. This has a massive, massive impact on employee retention, employee satisfaction, and the ability for an employee to continue throughout their day. Not just that, but typically the questions associated with a CSI score are derived from a single process that is meant that can actually inhibit the ability to serve the customer well. And I've seen this over and over and over through my 12 years on the retail side of the business, that when you move CSI scores out of the limelight and out of the pay plans, all of a sudden everything increases because it's less of a focus on a score and more on an actual experience. And I believe that OEMs definitely, as this report says, need to take a very, very, very hard look at whether their CSI scores have actually reduced worsened the customer experience because of attention on a score instead of an experience from an overall brand perspective. This is timely.
You know, it's there. I understand the side of the argument where it's like, hey, how else are we going to metric how happy the customer is? You know that most times consumers only fill those things out more. It's already skewed, right? You're more likely to fill it out if you have a bad experience, right? So it's already skewed in the wrong direction.
Absolutely. And they're on scales of 0 to 10, which has been proven over and over and over in every case study in the world, inside and outside of automotive, that it is ineffective and hard for any person to appropriately score someone. So, like, at a minimum, move to
1 through 5
Net Promoter Score of 1 through 5. Like, at least.
Or would you recommend? Or would you recommend?
Yep.
Right. One of the things that they talked about in there and was like, you know, you could get a customer who really cares about tire pressure. And you could get trashed on an entire CSI score because there's 36 pounds of pressure instead of 34 or 35, right?
Yep.
Which doesn't even, I mean, like the service advisor's not checking the tire pressure, but they're the ones who has the pay affected by it. One really great suggestion, which I think would work really well, is to rely more heavily on third-party mystery shoppers, right? Because that shopper's going to approach it with a reasonable mindset, and it's still a great way to keep everybody accountable. I don't think you should stop looking at CSI scores, but really solving for the experience, like you just mentioned, Kyle, solving for the experience. We're going to talk about this a ton at ASOTUCon. Solving for the experience is going to be the thing that makes everything else line up as it should be. Everything. So there you go. There's a takeaway. So we thought we need to cover a fixed ops story. Right? We don't talk about fixed ops enough, and the
industry
like
doesn't talk
50%.
about 50%. Yes.
No, that's true. It is 50%. Right, of the revenue and the profit. It's even easier, I think, to forget about it in these days when there's so much margin on the sales side, right? Like a disproportionate margin. But if you just remember 2-3 short years ago, everyone was like, fixed ops is going to save us all. That was really the conversation.
And it still will. Absolutely.
Agree. Speaking of saving us all,
don't stop. Could have stopped yourself.
Couldn't help it.
It was like a train wreck that you can't
stop.
Stop.
Don't say it. Disclaimer: I no way, shape, or form think Apple is going to save us all. However, their new product launch is today at 10 a.m. Pacific time. And it's likely to feature new phones, watches, software, all the stuff that Apple users geek out over, and non-Apple users will turn their nose up at. It's just really fun, entertaining show to watch that just happens on repeat several times a year. One nice thing about this one, it's good to see it return to in-person.
Yeah, that's gonna be great. The energy there will be really cool. I'm probably gonna have to watch it back. Maybe I'll watch it on the plane.
Your free time today, Kyle. You're not going to dip out of ASOTUCon prep for 3 hours.
Exactly. No, but I'm excited about the new Apple Watch. I think there's gonna be a lot of enhancements to it. Things like reading body temperature, pretty cool stuff that they're doing there. It is kind of on the hook potentially. They've talked about some new earbuds. Even like some of the conversation around the potential of 8K video being shot on an iPhone is pretty wild. So we'll see what happens. We're not the rumor mill out here. We just, there's been some intentional leak stuff out there, I think. So
it's a brilliant thing they have to leak things these days.
They have this content marketing schedule down to a T, and so who else has millions of people show up to a live stream event just to watch product launches?
It's amazing. So they always are a little cryptic in their ads, and this one says far out. It's got the Apple logo in the stars. I don't know. Maybe it's satellite texting is one of the features you can connect via satellite. Yeah, I don't know what it's going to be. I'm interested to see how they integrate. Like, so when they were live, right, they just put on like great showmanship, right? The programming, the videos are always fun to watch. And then we moved to COVID, so they got really good at these interlinking video segments, right, where they transition from one to another. It'll be interesting to see what they do, trying to blend the live and what they've learned from doing the virtual stuff. But without a doubt, whether you're an Apple fan or not, this is brand building, community building, life cycle marketing at its very, very best. The fact that they get so much press and so much attention on this, like they don't go to CES and the big electronic shows. They're like, oh no, we're cool, we're cool on our own, and they can only do that because they can do that. So I don't know. Speaking of what we can do today, you can get out there. You can sell for the customer experience. You can encourage your coworkers. You can sign up and get tickets to ASOTUCon to come visit us because we're going to be there in just a few days. But for now, we got a Wednesday to do.
Right.